Okay, so I want to tell a story. So basically, the question is, it's kind of smudged down there. I had a dream a while back, and this is like maybe like 2 years ago. I was trying to find myself, and the question was, what religion do I choose? And the religions that I was thinking about at the time was being a Jehovah Witness Christian. I was thinking about being a Buddhist, and I was also thinking about possibly like maybe like the occult or what you consider magic. So I had this dream. So that's like me right there. 5'5". Had this dream. So in the dream, I'm like going through the different religions. The first religion was Jehovah Witness, and I saw my friend Ricky, who's kind of like someone who got me into, considering to be a witness. And, being around Ricky, he was representing that religion. I felt nothing. There was like no emotion. And I was like, okay, there's no energy. It just feels very old, very just like robotic. Like there was no type of energy, spiritual energy. So the second one, my dream flashed me over here, the Buddhist. And in the Buddhist religion, like I had a dream of, I saw like so many Asian people, Asian little guys doing their meditation and yoga, and behind them were these things called the reptilians, and they were invisible and you couldn't see them. But I was kind of impressed because I saw them, I felt them, and you could barely tell they were there because they're really subtle. They were doing the movements with the Asian guys, the Asian people, and they were gathering like little energy, or from the people. They were gathering energy from the people, and basically, from my understanding of being around them in the dream, that they had this energy of the red, and they were like 15 feet tall. Like, say I'm 5'5", and these beings are like 15 feet tall. They're green. They have the color of greenness, chinky eyes, and you see like the red vest. They was wearing the red vest, looking like that. And they basically were gathering energy, and I can tell from their energy that they eat us. And it felt pretty bad. Like, wow, this red energy. It felt like infrared energy is like they eat us. But I was impressed because even though they eat us, they were so disciplined at gathering the energy while we were doing yoga movements and meditation that I guess this was like their way of kind of being symbiotic, where they didn't have to kill us per se, but this was like a method for them in Buddhism to gather the energy that they needed to survive off of. So it was more kind of like, and in getting the energy from the little Asian people, the little Asian guys, they would kind of extend your life. Sometimes they would extend your life. They would help you to do the moves to the yoga poses. So it was kind of a multi beneficial relationship there. So I was like, wow, these things are 15 feet tall. And so then the last religion, if you want to call it that, was like magic. And I had this vision of like this pink, magic, bowl of energy that was coming from the earth. Like there's the earth, and there's this big bowl of pink energy that was like the energy of magic. And it felt so good, and it felt so true. And it's like, yo, this is my way. Like, I believe in magic. And like before the end of the dream, like I'm like getting into the magic, and I'm feeling it's connecting with my inner child. All of a sudden I had this image of the Mad Hatter from like Alice in Wonderland pop up and just like start shaking me very violently, like, associated with magic. So it was pretty scary. And so I woke up. So it's like really all three of these kind of failed my test. So when I think back on it, there's like pros and cons to all. If you do the Buddhist religion, you have help. You have these beings there, the reptilians. If you do the magic, it feels good. That it seems like there's a dark side or a different side to magic. Like if you're not careful, you might get that Mad Hatter, that crazy guy, or the craziness comes up. That's just, I feel like it's just using magic. There are people who use magic in a wrong way, and so you have to be careful not to fall in the trap with that. But magic is, I feel like, more natural. Like that should be more of our way in human society. And then the Jehovah Witness, like I like the Jehovah Witness. They're very logical in how they decipher things in the Bible. However, the fact to not feel any energy didn't feel right. It didn't feel very human. But I think the reasoning is because the Jehovah Witnesses probably know that there's so many things like these beings, you know, they would call them demon or fallen angels. They know that there are beings and energies and spirits out there that they just don't want to be, they don't want to deal with that at all, right? So their religion or their style of doing religion is so closed off, like you're not going to feel anything at all. But I don't think that's natural. It didn't feel very natural. So all in all, I like what each one does in a beneficial, you know, because at least with Jehovah Witnesses, you get you more into your head. You become more like a scholar, or at least you think you're a scholar. Reading the Bible, you feel like you're looking for more, you know, accurate knowledge. You're not so driven by passion or emotion. You're really trying to use your head. So I did like that aspect of it. So I think in the end, I decided to take all the good from everything, you know, all the positive from everything. With the reptilians, with the Buddhist religion, more of their discipline and meditation. With magic, you know, the positive side of magic, the earth magic. And I'll take the mental scholarly tactics of the Jehovah Witness to try to, when I read things, like I discern things more, try to use my head more, so I don't get carried away so easily. And try to see if it makes sense on the mental plane level. But yeah, these beings exist. They're reptilians. They're 15 feet tall. And later in my journeys, outside of that dream, I find that these beings are in front of most religions. Buddhism, Christianity, you know, Islam, like they're in front of like most religions, and they have this mechanism of ciphering energy from us. And yeah, they're very, they're actually androgynous. They don't have a gender, these beings. So they could be masculine or feminine. But what I find is, if they, depending on how they give you their energy to experience, it could be a negative masculine or it can be a negative feminine. But I never really feel too much positivity from them. There are some reptilian groups though that seem like okay, because I've actually experienced a lot of different beings on the astral plane. And what I realized is that reptilians, they have different groups or different clans, like different cliques, and not everybody gets along. So you can kind of think about why we don't have world peace with our religions. It's because these beings are in charge of the religions and they don't like to work with each other. So human beings are just kind of stuck in the middle of their war, and it's been like that for a long time on the earth. So I would say we don't get too tall. I'm like 5'5". That's me. That's me. We don't get too much tall. I would say our consciousness is either from a 7-year-old perspective, or we can get up higher to a 14-year-old perspective. And very few people actually have what they call an elder consciousness. If you have an elder consciousness, maybe you're like a wizard, or you know, you've been a spiritual magi or priest for like a couple of lifetimes. You're ascended master. But the highest we can go is 14 in our consciousness. That has nothing to do with our intelligence, because you know, we're smart, but a consciousness meaning awareness. So we can be aware at a 14-year-old level in terms of our spiritual reality that's going on around us. That's all that means. So this is a lot of stuff to deal with. Maybe you might not want to consider what these you know, sometimes they're called fallen spirits, fallen angels, or dark lords. But if you are in the ET group, they're known as Draco reptilians. But that's what they look like. They're 15 feet tall. If you watch Dragon Ball cartoons, you know, a lot of their culture is represented in the Japanese, and so you'll see a lot of this going around. Like, you know, they represent a lot of aggression. Like, you know, these beings come from Mars too. When it came to this sector, they started colonizing planets like Mars. So they represent that aggression. They represent that fire, you know, actionary energy. So Dragon Ball Z is a good example of kind of seeing their culture out there. And they've been with us for like millennia, for a longest time. Human beings have a different aura. Like, we have a different understanding of the universe because we're still young. We're still young consciousness, and we still have emotions. We have emotional hearts. They don't really have emotions. These beings are telepathic. If they feel anything, is through the mind. They feel everything with their mind, with their mental, you know, telepathic. They have mad mind control telepathic abilities, and that's how they feel. They feel emotions really through us. They don't have a heart. They don't actually feel emotions through the heart, like, oh, this touched my heart. No, that's not them. If they feel anything, it's through the mind. So I just want to say, like, we're young and we have to make sure that everything's in balance and protect ourselves and know what we're worshiping and what we're getting into, because sometimes reptilians take it too far, and you know, they'll start fucking with us and get us in a place of, you know, of suffering, where they start ciphering off too much of our energy where we feel weak, you know. So you have to be careful, because these beings do live on the earth plane with us. They're just invisible. They live on an astral level. They can exist from energy and from energy to matter and back to back like that. They can actually show themselves as matter. If you see them as matter, it most likely will be like what you think might be a UFO, like a sun ball of energy in the sky, like a ball of energy in the sky. That would be them. They're transforming in their Merkaba, and they're like transforming themselves into an energy Merkaba. And so you can see them in like a sun ball, or you can see them transform into something physical, like an airplane or a helicopter. Sometimes you have to wonder if that's really like a government helicopter, or if it's them, because they use our energy to keep shape-shifting and transforming. And if you don't see them on the physical plane, like, they'll still be there, but they'll be invisible. They'll be in an energy, as an energy form. That's how they look. You have to kind of use your psychic sight, your third eye, to see them. Or the best way to see them, if you go to sleep and you start asking these true questions to your heart, you know, what's going on around us. You know, like my question was, what's the best religion out of the three? That's how, and I genuinely wanted to know. So it's like, that's how I was able to see it in a dream. You got to have that truth, and you can't have any blocks when you go to sleep. It's easier to get this information to your soul, and you'll see them. You'll see how, you know, how they look and everything, what's going on a regular day-to-day basis, and you'll see what they look like. But it's a spiritual, these are spiritual energy creatures, so you have to use your, you know, you're not going to see them with the naked eye. It's just, our human body is limited. We're not going to be able to perceive that type of energy. So I'm just saying that. And yeah, this is just kind of symbolizing their energy. It's very red. It's like a red sun. So the red energy is just very like, you know, vitality, symbolizes vitality, but they that's just the level they're working on. They're working on more of a ground, first chakra type of energy. And like I said, they're androgynous, so makes you think about a lot of things in terms of gender. But these beings don't have a gender. And they often said the angels didn't have a gender. Well, these is what your angels look like, or what they used, you know, they used to be angels. They're fallen. They do their own thing, kind of thing. So yeah, that's pretty much it. If there's anything else I left. Yeah, pretty much. Humans, if you truly are a human and you're not like a robot, or what they call robotoids, like, they're really good at making robotoids and clones and stuff, because they like to control people. They want to control people more. They want to control our spirits through like robotoid bodies. That's them. They're genetic engineers. They do things for their own selfish purpose right now. That's why they're fallen angels, because they're doing things for themselves.